This is the Railjet 1, long regarded as one of the most comfortable high-speed trains in Europe, thanks to its spacious and luxurious interior. But after more than 15 years of intense use across Austria and Central Europe, they are starting to feel a little bit tired. So, ÖBB has just rolled out the first completely overhauled Railjet 1 train, featuring a completely redesigned interior, including brand new seats in both first and second class. But the question is, has this beloved train actually been improved? I'm not so sure. So join me today for a ride from Vienna across the stunning and historic Semmering Railway before continuing on Austria's brand new Alpine high-speed railway line to Klagenfurt, as we check out just what this new interior is like. Good morning here from Vienna's main station Wien Hauptbahnhof in the Austrian capital. Today I'm going to be catching the first of the refurbished Railjet 1 trains. The Railjet 1 is probably known as one of Europe's most popular and well-liked high-speed trains, so I'm excited to see what ÖBB has done with it. So let's head inside the station and get this journey started. We begin our journey just outside the modern Wien Hauptbahnhof station here in Austria's capital. The station can easily be reached by public transport thanks to the many bus and tram lines as well as the metro that serve the station. And let me tell you one thing, it is freezing outside this morning, so let's get inside the station building. Wien Hauptbahnhof is just as impressive on the inside as on the outside, with all the expected amenities present. You will find a large ticket office for ÖBB, Austria's national rail operator, and there's also a large food court with plenty of options to choose from, although most of them weren't open this early. Along the corridor towards most of the station's platforms, you'll also find even more shops and retail outlets spanning across 2 levels. Right, we still got around 40 minutes left before our train is scheduled to depart, so I think we have time to a quick visit to the first class lounge. The lounge here can be accessed by most passengers with a first class ticket, including those traveling on first class interrails like me today. It's a pleasant place to wait for your train, with comfortable seating and lots of space to either relax or get some work done. On offer is complimentary soft drinks alongside some snacks and, much appreciated on a cold January morning, a warm cup of coffee. That was a surprisingly nice lounge. I've never been here before despite coming to Vienna at least a couple of times by now, so it was nice to finally check it out. Anyway, our train is about to depart in roughly half an hour, so let's go and see if we can find our platform. Wien Hauptbahnhof in many ways acts as the center of Europe's railways and sees a lot of different train traffic. Of course, there's loads of services to all over Austria, but there's also a lot of international trains here. For instance, you have plenty of ICE services heading towards Germany, as well as many international night trains, like this Railjet that's traveled overnight from Berlin via the Czech Republic and is now heading for Graz. And I actually got here this morning on this Hungarian Euronight service heading to Budapest, which I got on very early this morning in Salzburg after some last-minute changes to my travel plans. Let me explain. So it's actually 24 hours later now, because yesterday the refurbished Railjet 1 decided to stay in the workshop. So I've come back on platform 7, same train, same everything, and hoping I have luck on my side today instead. So initially the first refurbished Railjet train set has been circulating specifically on trains RJ 556 and 557. But of course the initial day I set out to film it, it stayed in the workshop. So I actually just saw the train we are after, the refurbished Railjet 1. It was just being shunted away from platform number 9, so hopefully it'll be pulled away and onto platform 7 here in just a couple of minutes. And sure enough, just a couple of moments later, the refurbished set is being pulled in to platform 7. Our train is being pulled by one of these ÖBB Taurus locomotives built by Siemens and part of their Eurosprinter family. The Railjet carriages themselves are also made by Siemens, and the whole train is capable of 230 km per hour. And while the iconic Railjet livery has stayed the same, the first refurbished train has been named Koralmjet, as it entered service alongside the opening of the Koralmbahn, a brand new high-speed railway line under the Alps which we'll be travelling on later today. Right, let's head on board and check it out. My first impressions are good. I think the new wooden finishes here in the vestibule look great. and while I am slightly disappointed to see that ÖBB didn't fit the same great first class seats here as on their newer Railjet 2s, overall I think the changes to move to a more muted color scheme for the seats makes the train feel more inviting and cozy overall. My seat for today's journey will be this forward-facing solo seat. And before we depart, I went to have a quick look at business class. The seats here remain the same as previously, but they have been refurbished with brand new materials to also match the more muted color scheme. Back at my seat, we are now ready for departure, which today is on time at 07:24. We leave the modern station building behind as the first bit of daylight is starting to break. Next up, we call at Wien Meidling just a couple of minutes later. This is an important shoulder station in the west of the city, offering connections to various tram and bus lines as well as the U-Bahn. From here, our train will take the line heading southwest towards Wiener Neustadt, and with that, I think we should take a look at the route map for today's journey. We are catching Railjet 556, which starts here in Vienna and will be making several intermediate stops covering a distance of 337 kilometers in 3 hours and 33 minutes to Klagenfurt, which is as far as I'll be traveling. This gives the train an average speed of 95 kilometers per hour. Afterwards, the train continues further west to Lienz, where it will terminate. The first part of our journey today is the least interesting, as we traverse the flat and mostly urbanized land surrounding Vienna. So instead, let's take a closer look at the new first class seats. My first impressions are a bit mixed. On one hand, I really like the new color palette, and the incorporation of a smaller table with a device holder is a great addition. They also feel a lot more private, especially in the paired seats due to the more closed off design. But the actual seat itself I found a little underwhelming. It is ergonomically shaped and features a slightly winged headrest with some padding. And the seat's overall level of padding and comfort is just good, but nothing more. I guess I was expecting a little more from a train that's supposedly one of Europe's best. It's by no means a bad seat, but in comparison to the Railjet 2 or České dráhy's Comfort Jet, the actual seat itself just isn't up there with those in terms of comfort. As for the seat's other features, we got a large fold-out tray table with a laptop extension bracket, a seat pocket as well as a power outlet. Multiple coat hooks can also be found around the seat. There's also a window blind alongside a reading light. For extra comfort, the armrest is slightly padded, and using these two levers you can control the seat's recline. It slides the seat slightly forward and angles the back, making for a more comfortable relaxation position. I think ÖBB succeeded in making first class feel overall more warm and inviting, but it's really a shame that the actual seat itself feels underwhelming, as that is ultimately the most important thing when it comes to comfort. Our train is now approaching Wiener Neustadt, which despite its name is actually around 50 kilometers from Vienna. Neustadt in German translates as new town, so this is basically the new town by Vienna. However, the town was founded around the end of the 12th century, so these days it's hardly new. We are now entering the foothills of the Alps, where we'll be traveling along the Stunning Semmeringbahn, one of Europe's most impressive mountain railways. The line is very scenic, but steep, slow and twisty. So a new 27 kilometer long base tunnel is currently being built deep under the mountains to replace it. And we can just about catch a glimpse of the Eastern Portal's construction site here. Before we start heading into the mountains, I was starting to feel a little hungry. So I placed an order for some breakfast with a dedicated first class host. In Railjet First Class, at-seat service is offered, but you can of course still walk to the dining car if you prefer to eat there. It's been snowing quite heavily for the past hour, and it looks like we might face some tough conditions as we head into the mountains today. The Semmering Railway opened in 1854 and was a marvel of engineering at the time, featuring 14 tunnels and 16 larger scale stone viaducts. The railway line is even UNESCO World Heritage listed and was the first ever railway to be so. It's a truly stunning railway line and a masterpiece of engineering, and it is a real privilege to be able to enjoy it from the comfort of a warm train carriage with breakfast served straight to your seat. The food on board ÖBB's Railjets are generally great, and today was no exception. It was tasty, and the whole plate including the drink cost just under €10, which I thought was reasonable. We are now approaching Mürzzuschlag. This is also where the western portal for the Semmering base tunnel is located, meaning that once it opens sometime in 2030-ish, you'll no longer get to experience this railway on long-distance trains heading for southwestern Austria. Right, enough about the incredible scenery, which, by the way, is still pretty good pretty much the entire way from here to Klagenfurt, but we were meant to talk about the refurbishment of these trains. Another area where improvements have been made is in cell reception and the onboard Wi-Fi. And, sure enough, not only was it very easy to connect to, it also turned out to be very fast. Next up, our train calls at Kapfenberg and shortly afterwards Bruck an der Mur. This is an important junction railway station, where trains like ours heading towards Klagenfurt and Villach previously had to take the slow route through the sparsely populated alpine valleys. But thanks to the opening of the Koralmbahn, Austria's brand new alpine high-speed railway, our train can now travel via Graz, which is Austria's second largest city. Right, I think it's about time we go take a look at the rest of the new interior. Behind first class you'll find the train's information point, where the staff is meant to hang out when not carrying out other duties. The train's accessible seating is found right in between the information point, accessible toilet and the dining car, ensuring all passengers, including those with limited mobility, has access to most of the train's features. Behind the dining car is where we get to the completely overhauled second class. And this is where things get really interesting, because ÖBB have gone for the same base seat as low-cost train operator Flixtrain, but with quite a few changes, including the gap filler between the seats, a different coat hook design, as well as the tray table having a built-in device holder. The table itself was very sturdy and more than capable of supporting a laptop. The legroom here is also much better than on Flixtrain, and they have installed a seat pocket as well as a footrest, something you also won't find on Flixtrain. Once again, I think ÖBB has managed to really make the train feel a lot more inviting also here in second class, but sadly, just like with the first class seats, the actual seat itself feels very underwhelming. They do have a comfortable ergonomic shape, but I just found them quite stiff and lacking in padding, which is just not the case with the older seats in my experience. Second class also features a dedicated area for children, including space for baby buggies. And check out the cool play area with a train simulator on board the train. There's also space for bikes, and I'm happy to see that the tables have retained their extension trays. Overall, I think I'd need to spend more time in the second class seats to give them a proper verdict. But I am a bit concerned that these seats are only really comfortable enough for journeys up to around 3-4 hours. Which really isn't good enough considering this train does plenty of journeys upwards of 6 hours to places like Zurich and Venice. The refurbishment is also meant to add a few vending machines throughout the train, but I couldn't find them today, so perhaps they will be installed later or I'm just blind. And with that comment, the only thing we have left to review is the toilet. As you'd expect for basically a brand new train, these were in great condition with working water, working dryer, there was plenty of toilet paper and the flush was also working. So they get a thumbs up from me. Back in my seat, we are now approaching Graz, which is Austria's second largest city, and not too long after departure from here, we will join the brand new Koralmbahn. The Koralmbahn is a brand new 127 km long high-speed railway line that opened just a couple of months ago, back in December 2025. And it has turned what was a 2-hour bus ride between Graz and Klagenfurt into a 40-minute train ride. The line is built for speeds of up to 250 km per hour, but these older Railjet sets are only capable of 230. Our train begins to slow down again to make our next station stop, Veststeiermark. And it's after our brief stop here we will enter the centerpiece of this brand new railway. We begin accelerating back up to 230 km per hour and enter the 33 km long Koralm tunnel, taking us deep under the mountains. And that's it really. We are currently more than a kilometer deep under a mountain, traveling smoothly at 230 km per hour. Modern day engineering really is impressive. Around 10 minutes later we emerge on the other side of the mountains, ready to make our next station stop, St. Paul in Laventhal. This is the last stop before Klagenfurt. And as we now get going again, I think it's about time we talk about train tickets. I was traveling on a first class Interrail today, so I could just jump on the train and grab any available seat, or reserve one for just a couple of euros. But regular advance purchase fares between Vienna and Klagenfurt start from as little as 29 euros in second class and 30 euros in first class. But these prices are based on demand and time of booking and can be considerably higher. So, just about arriving into Klagenfurt, which is as far as I'll be traveling today. Overall, the refurbishment is nice, but it just feels a bit like the Railjet 2, that it's a bit incomplete. Some things are a step up, some things are a step down, and it just leaves a mixed feeling overall. But the train's pleasant, we are on time, the food was good, so not much to complain about from here. The only thing that has me concerned is that ÖBB has really cheaped out on the new seats, especially in second class. Honestly, I don't really think that these seats belong on a premium high-speed train like the Railjet, and I would be worried about how passengers are gonna receive them on the longer Railjet routes. I mean, if I was ÖBB, I would be worried about destroying the Railjet's reputation as one of the best trains in Europe. But it's not like ÖBB cares about it anyway, as apparently this is a Railjet now. We are now pulling into Klagenfurt Hauptbahnhof right on time at 10:57. And before I get off the train, I should mention that all Railjet 1 trains will be refurbished over the next 5 years. And soon they'll start to circulate across all the Railjet 1 routes. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If you liked it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel to be notified when I post a video every Sunday. You can also support the channel by becoming a member, which gives you access to exclusive posts about my travel, as well as early access to all videos for just a couple of euros every month. And to continue your journey, why not watch this video on how Sweden refurbished its most hated long distance train by clicking the card on screen now. Thanks for watching.